Hello and welcome. It is the 20th day of February in the year 2025. I'm Lucia Hawkins. This is Meraki Farmacy entering its 10th year of service. And what I would like to share with you today is another invitation to get to know me and my work on a bigger scale and scope, and kind of give you what's going on and where we've been and where we continue to grow into. Community service is completely dependent on community engagement. This chat is presentation is the larger body of my work that I am calling Thinking Ecologically for the Relational Revolution. I wrote this without further ado. Hey, have a listen, go to other places to connect. The intention is for this to land with people anywhere with shared values and to cooperate and collaborate to continue decreasing the suck and increasing the rad, which we can go into more detail if you're unfamiliar with Meraki Farmacy. All right. I'm Lucia Hawkins. I'm an ecologist, an educator, land steward, herb farmer, clinical community herbalist at Meraki Farmacy, established in 2015. You can visit merakifarmacy.com to learn more about the work, intentionally engage, collaborate and support, sign up for newsletters, all those things. Consultations, classes, stewardship services are offered. You can read my CV. There is 20 plus years of learning and working in education, healthcare, sustainable agriculture, while serving women, children, families, veterans, survivors, and my own architecture and experiences. All of this culminates and continues in my work through Meraki Farmacy, where I primarily serve Mother Earth and help restore, nourish, protect people at their nervous systems levels, usually with integrative care, vitalist action, trauma-informed, bioregional herbalism, which is a form of healthcare that I believe is inherently radical. My cheeky motto here at Meraki Farmacy is to decrease the suck and increase the rad. We are decreasing disconnection by increasing connection. We are decreasing dysfunction by increasing connection. There's a number of ways that looks, and of course, depending on the situations and the people, places, and possibilities. When I say rad, I am referring to the first root a seed sends down into the dark. The radical, R-A-D-I-C-L-E, radical. When I say rad, I mean the source, the first contact, the origin, the rooting in as we grow up and out and around and through. You are here today with some basic trust, and I'm going to match that. You are trusting in my integrity of practice, and I am trusting that you are sincere and serious about how to care for people in these times. This was written before 2025. We are going to talk some hard things, and because I name it, I say the things. That is a big part of who I am. It's a big part of my reputation. It builds trust. It's my consistency of focus and work is a big part of why people come to me and Meraki Farmacy, why they refer their people here, and why they stay. May this be a conversation starter. As this is not all encompassing. This is informed, this is urgent, and it is also pretty beautiful, because if you're here, you are choosing life affirming, you are choosing respect, you are choosing reciprocity, rejuvenation, and things that doesn't just decrease the suck for you, but decreases the suck and increases the rad for all. I've never said this. I haven't said this publicly in a long time, so we're going to say it. I am currently in remission from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which was undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, invalidated, stigmatized for decades. I endured much of the spectrums of violence with humans and systems from an early age on through adulthood. Decades. I speak clinically. I was dissociated and existing in survival mode for decades. I am mentioning this because I want you to look around you, not just at me, at all of these people who are proof of what is possible. Especially when we are able to dedicate to process and recenter reciprocal relationships, particularly with nature. I never could have imagined the freedom of being at home in my own body, in this sacred space, in my own amazing body, nor the joy to be in good enough, healthy enough, intimate relationships with people. Nor could I have imagined the rejuvenation experienced by being in human community regularly, dispensing not just homegrown, deeply revered plants as prevention and remedies, but in sharing all of this hard-earned wound wisdom with people and hearing others and witnessing them and helping us all along the various paths of healing, preventing, responding, recovering, directly experiencing safety, nourishment, repair, presence, still, even in so much uncertainty, violence, chaos, and harm. And if you know, you know. If you don't, please continue to stay a while. The plants and rivers and dogs and birds saved my life. Statistically, I am a miracle, but I am not alone or even that unique. There are so many folks around you right where you are who have traversed oppression, violence, war, trauma, isolation, poverty, and neglect, and somehow, some ways, emerged from darkness, often several times, with astounding skill and wisdom. And even the love for people is still intact. The innate desire for connection and deep relations persists. That is miraculous. Listen to these people. Please listen to those who share their stories and skills with you, and please take me here today as giving you some of the best I got, retrieved from the deepest, darkest, scariest, utterly devastating places, proof of what is possible when we return to the bodies of earth and the bodies of our truest natures. One thing I love to do is to show you quickly how all the violence is interconnected and how it all grows from a root of disconnection. There is nuance and complexity, but in modeling this framing, I hope you will follow the mile markers for what to look for and how to spot the traps that are internalized and from all around you, and how to immediately and repeatedly dose with the antidote. And then stabilize and focus on prevention, rinse, repeat habitually. We are putting our attention and intention into collective experiences that have been predicted economically, ecologically, esoterically, ethically, because these are patterns, and patterns can be honored and some patterns can be broken. Let us begin. All systems of violence, discriminations, oppressions rely and feed upon disconnection. All versions and evolutions of these systems are exploitative, extractive, exhaustive, degenerative, toxic. Our American economics and governance are pretty intertwined, assuring each other's mutual security. Take note, spot the traps. These organizations of violence cannot be sustained indefinitely, just as infinite growth, as capitalism demands, is impossible. These systems are upheld by direct participation from people through usually coercion or the manipulation of human needs and desires for safety and belonging. When coercion doesn't work, the violence escalates. This is predictable, this is invented, and it is only one possibility of about 500 years compared to 300,000 years of humaning. Places of disconnection where these systems feed and gain strength are from disconnection from our own body, body sovereignty, body wisdom, body pride, body communications, disconnection from the bodies of our people, land, culture, food, ritual, medical care, rites of passage, song, story, folk traditions, intergenerational, belonging, trust, disconnection from the bodies of this earth, water, soil, woodlands, rivers, deserts, meadows, plants, animals, Disconnection from the bodies of the cosmos, the planets, the stars, myths, faith. Disconnection from the bodies of other people, people who may look different or pray different or marry different than you, or maybe they just live somewhere else. Disconnection from the bodies of time, seasons, planets, lunar cycles. Eat when you are hungry, rest when you are tired. What else? Stay home with the baby. We all bloom when the conditions are right. Oh, Lou, but it can't be that simple. Oh, but it is. The map is simple. The prevention and the remedies are harder to implement because it requires your choice, which is the antidote to coercion. It requires your will, your energy, your dedication, your community, all the while still existing within the extractive, exploitative, violent, exhaustive systems. The systems depend on your disconnection too, from community, from knowing another world is possible. This is why we have to work together, why we have to rest, why we have to dream, why we have to eat, why we have to soothe and nourish and relax and meet needs and ask for help and do it together. Because we can't feed the demanding machine and feed ourselves what we really need simultaneously. Not alone, not as a rugged individual or a lone pioneer. No, you have to do it as an ecosystem within and part of the ecosystem without, as in outside of yourself. And maybe even outside of your most intimate circle. But you should certainly start there with the people you call when the car won't start and the people who call you when the sitter can't get there. The systems bend us into feeding them, often through coercion, the myth of the rugged individual, white supremacy, ageism, classism, all the isms. How many times have you gone to the table asking for human rights or better working conditions or reasonable expectations and an offer is made? They throw money at you or the promise of perceived security. Hey, you can be one of us. Just don't rock the boat. We'll take care of you. Find the scapegoat. We have all had our values and desires assigned a number. And so many buckle in fear, sell out, and hope it'll all be okay. And that, we were just doing what we had to do. And damn, Sally, you just got. But you tell yourself the money is good and the kids are okay, and you think about how much worse it could be. You could be Black in America. You could be a single mother. Oh, I have it so good here in the greatest country of earth, and goddamn, shouldn't this all be enough? Shouldn't I just be grateful for the crumbs that I have? But you know what? But then your back hurts and you can't sleep and you doom scroll and you binge drink and your knee aches and maybe you just need some more supplements so you keep scrolling for the answer. But Sally, the answer is get outside. Get to know yourself truly. The answer is you're going to have to be radically honest with yourself about how you and your ancestors were and are coerced and maybe even willingly participate in the intergenerational cycles of violence and harm, sometimes to your very own kin and definitely to whoever is assigned other and absolutely to the land and therefore to the collective. And that is a terrible thing to sit with, I know. So maybe you'll buy into some spiritual bypassing bullshit, burning white sage, taking sacred plants of closed practices, taking the sacred plants of those few people who survived the genocides. Instead, go outside. Go to Meraki Farmacy in places like this. Go to the roots. Get to the radical. Go to the dark, oppressed places within you. We will stand guard while you traverse the dark. And when you emerge with your hard-earned wound wisdom, we will honor the pain and grief together. Go to trauma-informed practices, community groups, the water. Go to an elder, to the children, to the birds. The remedies for extraction and exploitation are in repairing, mending and sharing. Yes, before buying new, but repairing, mending and sharing. It's breaking up with your bank and going to the cooperatives and unions. The remedy is a commitment to no more fragrance oils and products of plastic, no more pyramid scheme, essential oil bullshit, please. Demanding deforestation and further colonial violence against indigenous people and land. Break up with the false promise of convenience because it is killing you too. The remedies for isolation and scarcity is getting out into community. Sow seeds. Get intimate with a plant from seed to seed. Experience the abundance, the millions of seeds for generations held in a single flower. Reorient yourself to wealth. The remedies are trusting kids, believing survivors. The remedy is moving beyond acceptance and embracing the beauty that you have more in common with most primates than you do with the people elected and appointed to make decisions on your behalf, proven time and time and time and time and time again that not only are they not your friends, nor your savior, or just like you, or even remotely concerned for you, other than how they can exploit and extract the last bit of life from you, just as they do the rivers, the woodlands, the seas, the soil, the people who migrate. It's okay to feel feelings about this and even howl into the night. I will be howling back. The remedy is righteous rage against the machines, spreading poison on the soil and the food and the makeup and the plastics and everyone's brains, and the gaslighting of all of us when we say, hey, stop trying to kill us while you kill the people you want us to believe are threatening our righteous way of life. Okay, for real though, it's all cyclical, but I'll show it in a more linear way in the name of increasing the rad. Because often I am unfurling the map, showing the places where the harm and the systems built upon extraction, exploitation, and violence intersect. Because it is at those places we also see our solutions, our preventions even. Please remember, it really is all truly deeply interconnected. So every single choice you make, every single day to starve the cycles of violence and feed the cycles of care, you are joining millions of others also doing that. And that is threatening. That is powerful. These are the answers. Identify the traps, identifying the antidotes and remedies. If the systemic violence is intentionally disconnective, exploitative, extractive, profit-centered, short-sighted, diseased, degenerative, unnatural, and therefore impossible to sustain on its own, it relies and depends on our participation in them. So you spot the trap. Every time you play by the rules of an extractive system, you lose parts of your soul. And the shame, the guilt, the pain gets repressed, and it festers and it causes disease. And it's well documented across space and time. The system counts on this too. Every time we perpetuate capitalism disguised as entrepreneurship, girl bossing, living the dream, we are doubling down on destruction, not self-protection, not survival. What is the remedy? Simultaneous, collective, organized, consistent disruption, chiefly by being independent of the suck. Increase the rad by being parts of mutual aid networks, especially in your region before crisis. Community land projects, land back efforts, conservation and decolonizing your relationship with land. Worker cooperatives, repair cafes, seed and food sovereignty, regional, networked, organized, public supported. Grassroots initiatives, general strikes, and boycotts and divestments work. Learn about how the harm reduction model can be applied and emulated across community concerns and health issues. Spot the trap. Scarcity and how classism erodes collective care. You see each other as competitors for scarce resources available only through compliance with the systems. You confuse kin and care for threats. Remedy. All women, all children, all waters, all soils, all kin. All kin cooperate Redistribute, trust, build together. Trees share resources with each other. Birds look out for babies that aren't theirs. And yes, people have also done this for thousands of generations. Remedy, centering relations with nature as living, sentient, sacred life. This reconfigures your orientation to wealth, abundance, safety, belonging, community. Because these are not commodities or resources to be used and abused. This is your kin. Spot the trap. Continuing to center the voices of oligarchs, billionaires, white Christian, cis, hetero, male descendants from Europe as the authority figures, especially on what life is or how things are. The remedy, centering the voices, leadership, and expertise of those most directly impacted by the specific form of violence being addressed, while remembering it really is all interconnected. No one is safe unless we are all safe. Trust those in practice with the blueprints, those quietly putting away the chairs at the end of the meeting. Remedy, building and maintaining relationships rooted in respect, reciprocity, and responsibility moves us from extraction, exploitation, and exhaustion to vitality and safety. Spot the traps. Intolerance of differing opinions, perfectionism, cancel culture, avoidance of conflict. Here's your remedy. You got to be able to be vulnerable. You got to be able to give and take criticism. A willingness to be wrong is not the worst thing to have. And to be more interested in how the sum of the community takes care of each other. Diversity of any community is a primary indicator of resilience, adaptability, overall wellness. Leave policing to the terrible past. Read Joyful Militancy. There are remedies that simultaneously starve the exploitation machines while feeding community and restoring your vitality. Here we go. You're doing great. Repair your relationship with time. This is so terribly important. As we know, capitalism is exhaustive and has us all mixed up with time because it's so disempowering and it coerces us into thinking of time as yet another abstract out there commodity to be saved, wasted, invested, and something we never have enough of. Return to and integrate natural cycles into your life as preventative and responsive care. The bodies of you, the bodies of this earth, the cosmos, and the kin. If you're an MFer, you know we use evolutionary astrology to inform how we repair our relationship with time, especially in capitalism. For example, astrology is an ancient science and technology of time, universality, and can absolutely, I think, should be used as preventative care because it's preventative and connective, not predictive. Astrology is intentionally discredited because it is so connective, it's empowering, and it requires your direct participation and agency, your free will and your choices, never coercion. See, you spot that trap and then you see the remedy? Of course, we are always being aware of those in practice who sensationalize and otherwise perpetuate the bullshit. Through anchoring into cycles of seasons, specifically where you live, where your people lived, is liberating because it once again connects you to life and regeneration, not coercion and violence. Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, rest when you are tired. How can you divest from extractive expectations of working, mothering, humaning? Think about the language we use to talk about time. You don't have it. You got to save it. You're wasting it. Even I use that language for sure. It's just something to be aware of and think about, right? Community care and a return to matriarchal indigenous traditions. Shared labor with other parents, families, elders, and children. Eat seasonally and locally. Ebb and flow with the seasons. You are not the same animal in April as you are in August or in December. Evaluate how exhausting that is and defy the invention of productivity. Repairing your relationship with Mother Earth and more than human kin. Learn ancestral and herbal traditions from practitioners, from people steeped in practice and integrity, in person, in community, with the plants, right where you are, and in the networks of care as currency and healthcare as liberation. The last thing we need is more white lady herbalism and the perpetuating of extraction, appropriation, and other forms of violence, especially with land, especially disguised as health or spiritual or whatever. Call me. Less retreats, more daily habits. The nutrient content of soil determines the nutrient content of food. We must disrupt and dissolve the chemical agriculture systems that are poisoning all of us, all of life. I wrote this before the funding freeze of all the sustainable farms that, yes, aren't just feeding you, but protecting trying to increase the 60 seasons of viability that we have left with our soils due to chemical ag and imperialism. Stop using Roundup. Stop using fragrance oils, plastics, fast fashion. Stop using AI. Whatever your current thing is, disrupt it. Break up with it. Stop it. Replace turf grass with native grasses. Less lawn, more food for more kin. Native plants support native species, reduces soil erosion and degradation, provides food and habitat for at-risk species due to land development, suburban sprawl, chemical ag, colonialism, and over-foraging. Regularly support local, regional, organic, regenerative farms run by Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, trans, intersex, asexuals, humans. Build and join community gardens, community cleanup, land back initiatives. You have all the manuals. We've all been told and then keep passing on everything to do. Put gardens everywhere. There really is no such thing as the linear pathways in ecosystems. They are complex, cyclical, and deeply interconnected and interdependent. When you spend consistent habitual time outside, off screen, alone, and with others, observing and relating to nature, when you go see mom, you are reorienting to safety, abundance, and possibility. You can do all sorts of outdoor activities, but remember the primary intention, at least some of the time, has to be just building friendship with rocks and plants and trees and bodies of water for their own inherent innate value. Honor mother regularly. Decenter the human, decenter the activity rating. Just be present outside every day, alone and with others. Repairing your relationship with your own ancestral lineage. Radical honesty about who your ancestors are, how they were coerced and participated in colonization, discrimination, and violence. Radical honesty and acceptance of American history. The reality of so many people doubling down on whiteness, keeping them safe, has betrayed you. So what are you doing? Learn from and follow the leadership of Black, Indigenous, people of color, and the global majority. Repairing our relationship with food and plants. Food is mother's love. Food is medicine. Food is nourishment. Food is prevention. Food is a centerpiece of our lives, families, cultures, past and present and future. Food is interspecies communication. Food is everything. Identify the barriers to local nutrient-dense food access where you live and who is working to increase access and education and how you can best support them and their work. More than ever before is this important. The nutrient content of soil determines the nutrient content of food. We talked about this. We must disrupt and dissolve the chemical agricultural systems that are poisoning all of us. No rugged family homestead solutions. Remember all those traps and all the warnings and antidotes and the remedies. Eating seasonally, a lot of things that we just talked about. Cook and brew with herbs and spices, especially if you are people. Join cooking clubs and meetups that center local foods. There's lots of people doing this in lots of places. And there are some places that are behind the times and need help and supports, even just establishing the initial infrastructure for this kind of community building. Did you know that wildcrafting and foraging by Americans has made many once very common plants now at the risk of extinction? So you have to stop taking and plant food forests, community gardens, kids gardens, gardens at the senior center, gardens at the library, gardens in the empty lot, on the roof, along the streets, for all of our kin. Call me. Supplements are generally trash and waste your money. whatever. Share the labors of growing, preserving, cooking food, and the joys of eating in community through social agreements, faith groups, potlucks, neighbors, friends, humans. All of the ways we can practice these things is also going to repair our nervous systems, our sense of hope, and our overall sense of connection, and will increase our lived experience of nourishment and safety, which we deserve, of course, but we also need. As we know, existential threats are real, and our animal bodies are very smart and attuned, and we need to work with our biology and our thoughts and our feelings and our choices to habitually decrease the suck and increase the rad out there, because we're having very normal responses to abnormal levels of harm. I think for a lot of folks, a big barrier to stopping violence is that they can't imagine the alternatives, which is why I once again urge you to listen to the folks who live this, who are deep in practice, who are survivors and advocates. Because as we continue to advocate, we often get scapegoated. We are depending on community support. Another reminder that this is long haul lifestyle stuff. Often and regularly, people come to me during crisis. We won't even get into all that. The sense of urgency is real, and maybe use that to make the promise to yourself and the next 7 generations about what you can do every day, what you can sustain and maintain over time, what you dedicate to doing right where you are with what you got and who is around you is incredibly powerful and mutually beneficial. Stop with celebrity culture. You must have pleasure, joy, company, discomfort, challenge, humor, and an ever-deepening connection to that radical, holding center, feeding the systems of prevention, care, and repair. I am Lucia Hawkins of Meraki Farmacy, and I thank you for your time today. It is an honor to share my life's work with anyone who is interested and available for doing the things together. You can call, you can email, otherwise, however you want to connect with me, no matter where you live. Let's grow together in solidarity and joyful rebellion. Thank you.